So guys, we got one little window right here. This is a bit of a reckless thing to do. Oh, fish on. We got one, guys. Today I'm here at the Tailwaters Lodge and we are going to be doing another TVA public land hike. So without further ado, let's head over to the trail and get the hike started. Today's video will be featuring Emmett Trail, only a half mile from the main campus at Tailwaters Lodge. So I just got parked, and this parking lot doubles as a boat ramp. So they've got two sections of the parking lot, one for cars and the other one's for trailers. And the first thing you're gonna notice is that we are right on the water. We're not far from Osceola Island and the Weir Dam. You can actually see it from here. And a lot of people like to launch their drift boats from right here, as you guys can see. All right, so at the start of the trailhead here, you're gonna see a nice map that shows exactly where to go, as well as some information on it. The Emmett Trail is a 1.1 mile one-way TVA trail located on the South Fork of the Holston River below South Holston Dam. So guys, with me today, I've brought a basic spinning rod. It is incredibly windy today, so I was a little nervous to bring out the fly rod, but we've got a traditional spinning rod with us today. I've also got my SLR as well as a tripod in case we come across some beautiful wildlife, and we'll just see what we find today. It's gonna be one of those hikes where the potential is out there for all sorts of fun things to happen. So enough talking, let's get out there, let's see what we can find. So the initial thoughts on this trail is that I really like how it follows right next to the South Holston River. So we're heading down river from this particular location, and just to my left here is the river. As we get a little bit lower down, there should be a couple of fishing spots where we can pull off, try our luck. And it seems like there's less people out on the trail, so if you're struggling to find a spot that potentially is a little bit more secluded, you may want to come to this trail and just hike down because it's not very far. And on Google Maps, it looks like there's going to be a couple of spots where I can pull off. The other thing I really like about hikes that follow any type of waterway is that there's always an abundance of birds. So even in the wintertime, it's currently December, most of the leaves have fallen off the trees, but since I've started this hike, I've been hearing birds chirping. I've seen little birds flying around, and because we're right next to the river, we also have the opportunity to see things like bald eagles, osprey, blue heron. There's just a lot of cool things, which is why I brought my camera today, because potentially we could get some really cool photographs today as well. So when you come to Tailwaters Lodge, we're obviously right here on the South Holston River. It's one of the top fly fishing destinations in the country. So you have lots of fly fishing opportunities, but for people who also just want to get out into nature, we've got a ton of hiking options nearby as well. Or if you're into biking, only 30 minutes from here is the world famous Creeper Trail, and it is just an absolutely beautiful biking and hiking trail that cuts across the Virginia countryside. And I recently did a video. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video if you'd like to check that out. But there's just a lot of good options for outdoor activity and recreation, and that's why I love living in East Tennessee. All right guys, so I just came to my first clearing. The land around me is cleared away because we have power lines running from the dam all the way to here. So let's go quickly check and see if there's any spots to fish before we keep going. This is definitely marshy, so you got to be careful here to not go directly into the mud. It may be one of those locations where it may be too muddy. I'm not sure. We're gonna go for it, but if we start sinking into the mud, we'll turn back. This is beautiful, man. So guys, we made it to the edge of the river, and it is absolutely beautiful through here. So very quickly, I'm gonna put on a float. We're gonna drift some very small plastics or aquatic bugs, and let's see if we can trick a trout. So guys, what I'm gonna do is I've currently got a weighted jig head with a small stonefly on there. It's just a little plastic bait. I'm gonna have to cast out pretty far because we've got a lot of weeds right in front. But all we're gonna do is cast out, and we're just gonna let it drift in the current. If that jig head or that float decides to pop under, we'll be ready. First drift was unsuccessful, but we're going to continue to cast and see if we can find the right seam. Just because the first drift didn't work doesn't mean we're not using the right stuff here. So drifting this little stonefly didn't seem to work, so let's switch it up a little bit and let's try something else. All right guys, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a spinner here, because if there's one thing I know about trout, they love flashing metal. So guys, we've got a silver spinner. The reason I put on silver is because the sun's out, and typically I've had more luck on the South Holston with silver spinners during the day when it's bright outside. So So what I'm gonna do is just cast it upriver. I'm gonna pull it down quickly. Let's see if we get bumped. This is a very reactive type of bite. Oh, and just like that first cast, we had a bite. Look at that. He hit it, gave us a little show, and then came off. That's okay. that was fun. Let's try it again. The goal is to cover distance, so I'm casting slightly upriver and I'm pulling it at a slight sideways downriver trajectory, which trout really like. All right, guys, well, spot number one was pretty fun. I did get that bite, which is very exciting. So guys, the reason I'm filming this video today is because we are very close to Tailwaters Lodge, and I do a lot of marketing and videos for Tailwaters Lodge. So if you have not already subscribed to their YouTube channel, I hope you'll go ahead and do that for me, because all of my work and effort is going into that channel as well, and I could definitely use your support. So with that being said, let's keep moving. Let's see what else we can find. This is a very marshy area, so it's not a bad idea to bring some hiking boots. I brought with me tennis shoes today, but I can tell that if I take the wrong step here, I'm gonna have some wet tennis shoes. So little tip, go ahead and bring some boots if you got them, because that would not be a bad idea. Or if you've got waders, of course, that's a great spot for waders. Okay, so we're back on the trail. This was the spot we just fished. It was the first clearing, and I have a feeling we're gonna get a few more opportunities as we head down this way. So let's see what else we find. You know, if you had waders or boots, you could probably access this spot as well, but because I don't, I'm gonna keep moving. That was only about 30 feet down from my last spot. All right, guys, so I have to stop real quick. I just saw something, because I put my gear down. Check out this tree. It's got the super wide base, and I think it's hollow on this side. Whoa. But check this out. This is wild looking. It goes all the way up. It's not quite hollow, but it's kind of like has an open side to it, which is very interesting. Really cool pattern that goes up. You don't see that every day. That's really cool. So guys, we just made it to clearing number 2. It's another power line area where they bush hog out a section all the way to the bank over there. So let's go check it out, see if we can find another spot. So guys, the second spot's pretty shallow. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the spinner a few times and just reel really fast. We've got a bit of a sweeping current through here, and let's just see what we can find. We've got rocky shelf coming down, so as I'm using a spinner, I've got to be very careful here. Gonna have to reel very, very fast. My goal is to cast way out there to the middle, and then immediately start reeling. Just rip it down river. All right, guys, so location 2 is sweeping pretty quick. Right in front of me, we've got a lot of rocks, and then out there's a seam. There's a bubbly seam where it gets a little bit deeper. I'm having a hard time keeping my spinner in that zone, but I can tell you, if it is not generating, what a spot to come out and fly fish right through here. It looks really good, so keep that in mind. It's not that far away from where I started the hike, and what a spot. This is amazing. So guys, one thing that's very noticeable is we're about 2 months removed from Hurricane Helene coming through and ripping through this area with high winds and floodwaters, and there's been a lot of trees that have fallen down. And so you can see the TVA, they've done a lot of trail work to make sure these trails are accessible, and they've done a good job with it. But you may notice there's quite a few trees that are down, and if you're visiting anytime near when I post this video, that's why there's so many trees down, is because of the hurricane that came through. We just made it to our next clearing, so that means we're gonna get one more shot at the river. And I'm telling you guys, this one looks the best of all 3. It looks like we've got a deep run going through there. This is gonna be a tough cast. It's so marshy. Let's see if I can even, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get over there or not. At the moment, it's looking like this particular spot is a wader and boot spot only, unless I can find another way in here. So guys, we've got one little window right here. This is a bit of a reckless thing to do. It may result in me having to get even more wet to retrieve my lure, but let's give it one cast and just see. Let's just see if we get lucky here with one cast in this one little open window. Oh, fish on. We got one, guys. Let's see if we can get him in. Our little window here. We gotta go quick. Yeah, got him. All right, so guys, we caught ourselves a little brown trout, you know. Let me get my hands wet. So when you deal with trout, especially little trout, always wet your hands because they have this protective coat on them and you want to make sure that they get back easy. But check out this little brown trout, guys. Honestly, that is such a cool surprise. He nailed the spinner there as I was ripping it back. So let's get him back into the water. I'm gonna come right over here, reach out into this nice clear water, point him in the right direction here, and there he goes into the weeds. All right, let's see if lightning strikes twice, guys. The very next cast, I catch a bunch of weeds. That's the way it goes on the river here. All right, guys, well, I've worn out this one little spot right here. I've cast about maybe 15 times. Caught that one trout, which was really cool. All right, let's go before we lose this thing. We still have our original spinner, and that in itself is a massive win. So let's go ahead and find our stuff and get going. So we're back on the trail. I've got my trusty camera ready to go if we happen to see some birds or some wildlife nearby. And we're just gonna keep on our hike. However, the hike's about to take a turn here away from South Holston River and into just some open field land. So here we go this way. It says notice, safety zone, no hunting. So don't hunt that direction. I do like how as you walk along, they do have trail markers to let you know what it is. This one right here says Emmett Trail, letting you know you're still on the right trail to keep going. All right, guys, so we've come to the edge of the field. We've walked a long ways. And right here we've got another marker sign saying now go left. So we're just going to continue to follow the trail left, and let's see what else we can find out here. This is where I've been warned by a local guy that we're about to hit an uphill that's very doable, but he says it is steep, so we'll see. All right, guys, so here is the official uphill. It's a pretty steep uphill. So here we go. So it's definitely steep through here, that's for sure. It's basically an access road that comes down this way. You can tell it's been used by the TVA. Like many of the public land trails, a lot of it is going to be just an access road. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Starting to flatten out again. I will say Emmett Trail has been a nice trail. So guys, up ahead I see a fence, which means I think we're at the next trailhead. All right, guys, we've made it to the trailhead here at Emmett Trail. This is the end of it, or the beginning, depending on which direction you'd like to come from. Let me go ahead and just cross over here so we can take a look at the sign. So no motorized vehicles, good to know. Public hunting is allowed in this area in accordance with state regulations. So that's for sure. I've already seen 2 hunters this morning. And just like the other end of the trail, we've got a little parking lot here, which is nice. And then right over here, we've got a little bit about TVA public land, all the different things you can do. On this particular area, there is hunting allowed. Camping is limited to 14 consecutive days. Of course, don't leave anything behind, remove all litter, no authorized vehicles, cutting or removing of vegetation and or target shooting, okay? So this particular spot is pretty open. We've also got our map right over here. This is the same map and same type of look that you'll get on the other side when you start in the other trailhead as well. All right, well, I'm back to my original spot where I started the day fishing. We're almost back to the trailhead on the other side. I've had a lot of fun today. It's a very moderate to easy hike, so I hope you'll get a chance to hike it when you come visit the Tailwaters Lodge. It's a lot of fun. I just filmed another hiking video last week where I go to the South Holston Spillway. I'm gonna put that one right here, or if you prefer to see what a 15-mile bike ride looks like on the Creeper Trail, I've got another fun video right here. Till next time, tight lines.